This is TWiT.
How many of you have Bitcoin here?
I don't, but I know someone close to me who did and lost an unfortunate amount of money on the recent crash.
I feel like it's a little schadenfreude, and I shouldn't feel good about anybody losing money, especially nowadays. But Bitcoin went below 20,000. It's actually gone back up a little bit. It actually got down to about 18,000 over the weekend. Holy cow.
Wow.
Holy cow.
And, you know, the scary thing about this is that people who really should have known better got into this thing in a big way, and, you know, a lot of them got burned.
That's why I shouldn't say, isn't... To me, it's like, oh, yeah, Bitcoin went down. What a surprise. You know, you should have known better. But I feel bad for people who, you know, saw Matt Damon saying courage favors the brave. And they said, well, I'm going to be courageous and buy Bitcoin. And of course, if you hold stocks right now, your 401k is probably not doing too well either.
We don't look at that, Leo.
Yeah.
We don't look at the numbers when they go down.
That's right.
Only when they go up.
Just keep pumping the money in there, you know, every paycheck, and then, you know, hopefully at some point in the future there will be enough in there to at least, you know, give you a little bit of extra spending money as you keep working until you drop dead.
Yeah, right.
Well, I think, you know, I think the scary thing about the markets right now are stocks are down, bonds are down, crypto is down. Like, you know, there's, you know, everything's down.
In the past, when stocks went down, people would buy gold. And I thought Bitcoin would be like that, right? Like that would be,
that's what a lot of people thought, that it would be like gold. But, you know, unfortunately, you know, at least gold, you know, you have something physical that, you know, has some
Well, but let's be
usability.
fair. The industrial value of gold comes nowhere near the price of gold. I mean, yeah, you could, if you had some gold bricks in your basement, you could probably find somebody to buy it to make, you know, expensive stereo dongles. But it's not like it's going to be, what's the price of gold per ounce? It's a lot more than the industrial value of it. So gold is probably similar to Bitcoin in that respect, right?
Well, I mean, at least it has some industrial value. Bitcoin, you know, is nothing.
Yeah,
you know, it's a scam.
Yeah. The current.
Well, I think there's the future, guys. That's what we're all forgetting.
I guess I have to be the Web3 defender, and you know,
oh, good. We found one finally.
Great.
Finally.
Well, I think there is, you know, there is some utility value in cryptocurrencies broadly. You know, in the idea of like greatly improving cross-border payments, taking a lot of cost out of the equation. Not necessarily with Bitcoin, because Bitcoin is one of the least efficient cryptos out there. The problem is that the speculation value, the quote-unquote investment value, but really it's speculation. The speculation value of these cryptocurrencies is at complete tension with any utility. The more volatile and hence, you know, short-term money-making these currencies are, the less useful they are for payments.
Right. As El Salvador has learned, to their chagrin, they made Bitcoin last year their state currency, replacing the dollar, and now they can't pay their debts. I shouldn't.
Well,
I shouldn't have
make it.
Go ahead.
I think they made it legal tender, but I don't think they completely replaced the dollar. I think they made it parallel as an alternative to the dollar. So you could use the dollar or use Bitcoin, but it didn't completely replace the dollar.
They bought a significant amount of Bitcoin, which was also a little bit of a mistake. I shouldn't laugh, but there's so many Bitcoin bros, especially those Bitcoin billionaires going around saying, you see, it's the future. There's so much hype around it. I guess I feel terrible for anybody who's lost money, you know, because I don't know. I doubt it will come back to its former glory days. Maybe it will. But I think maybe some of the bloom is off the rose. So I feel terrible for anybody who's lost money. But at the same time, I'm glad that it's kind of taken some of the air out of the market. Ironically, Jack Dorsey, former Twitter CEO, one of the founders of Twitter, announced Web 5.0, which is Web 2.0 plus Web 3.0, based on Bitcoin's blockchain just a couple of weeks ago. That's not looking like a good choice right about now. Coinbase.
I think it's time for Web 6.0.
Yeah,
clearly.
maybe we got to skip ahead. What's
there's
now? Are you said you're going to defend Web 3?
Mm-hmm.
what is good about Web3?
I mean, there's a limited set of circumstances where a blockchain, which is, basically a write-only database that's distributed on the internet, is useful. And it's generally where you don't want to have one party maintaining a database, and where where you don't want to have to trust someone.
Right. Like a bank.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, the irony is that we've built all these systems that do rely on trust, and people are kind of used to it. And there's even a kind of a thinking in the, in the crypto world that, well, like if you get caught by a scam, you didn't do your research.
Right.
It's your fault because you shouldn't have to trust.
And who do you blame? Right. There's no bank to complain to.
Yeah, exactly. So I don't know, to your point, Leo, I am very sympathetic to people who saw a misleading ad and kind of, went for it based on those false premises. I'm also sympathetic to people who say, hey, the existing system is, people who believe the existing system's rigged against them and, don't want to invest in stocks. They're certainly not getting any kind of interest on their bank deposits. And that's see exactly it as a way to,
And that's exactly the situation this person close to me was in. Didn't believe, thought the system was corrupt and broken and basically rigged against normal people, and was reading Reddit forums, and even when I tried to explain the technical stuff and the limitations. There's, as you said, I agree that there's some theoretical, really interesting use cases for blockchain and crypto, but when you actually start looking at it as a store of value, it becomes way more problematic, and actually trying to use it. And certainly I don't think anybody has come up with a really viable way of making it usable as a store of value. And when you look at the world around you today and see all the corruption, it is very enticing to jump into something like this and hope that maybe this is going to be a solution to the problems that we have.
Part of the eye opener though is it's not corruption free. The world is full of corruption. It's full of scammers. It's full of bad guys. And NFTs, it turns out, not only is it centralized pretty much all on OpenSea, but if OpenSea decides, as they did with the Bored Ape, we're not going to sell anymore, you can't, that's it, you're done. So it is centralized. And there are plenty of scammers out there who found ways to steal NFTs, to fish NFTs. I feel like it's the best, it's the worst of all worlds combined. Yeah. But it does have this utopian promise of something better. I just don't see it happening. There's also the environmental impact, which we can't ignore. I know that banking has an environmental impact as well, but these proof of work cryptocurrencies right now are not exactly the thing we should be doing, I think, as the world gets hotter and hotter.
I mean, my one issue is that people are describing them as currencies, but really what they're being used as right now is just for speculation.
They're tulip bulbs.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they're tulip bulbs that we're all betting.
Except they don't look pretty in the spring.
At least,
except for there's nothing to hold.
Yeah, to your point, Sam, at least you can plant a tulip bulb. Even if you paid $5,000 for it, at least you'll get a tulip. Maybe not if your tulip is held in a vault under the Swiss Alps. Yeah. Maybe not. Anyway, I don't want to pile on. If you're holding Bitcoin, I have almost 8 Bitcoin. But I can't access it because I forgot my password and it's just sitting in my wallet.
No.
Yeah, it's an old story. Everybody knows this story. Actually not oh no. Well, maybe oh no. But see, this is always a problem even with stocks. If you knew when the peak was, it would be oh no. You should have sold Leo when it's 60,000 because it's never going to be there again. But is it? If I sold it today at 20,000 and it goes to 60 in a year, did I do the right thing? So it's better it's locked away. I didn't buy them. They were donations. For a while, we have a tip jar or something on the website. For a while, I had a QR code for a Bitcoin wallet. And so, I didn't buy them. People
just sent you 8 Bitcoin?
Well, this was the last
You know,
one was
were worth a few
2015.
dollars back
This was
then.
when they weren't worth anything, and they weren't even
okay.
sending whole Bitcoins. They were sending fractionals. But enough people did it. It was 7.85 Bitcoin, and I can see it. I have the wallet. I just have to remember the passphrase to unlock it. It'll come to me. I don't feel as bad, and I've mentioned this before too, and I apologize if you're hearing me repeat. I don't feel as bad as Steve Gibson, our security guy. When Bitcoin first started, he thought it'd be fun to set up a Bitcoin miner. Literally next morning, 50 Bitcoin came out of it. Early on, it was easy to do that on just a PC. So he put the wallet on a hard drive, forgot about it. Later, erased the hard drive. So he had, even by today's standards, he had $1 million. You know, he had $3 million at the peak that just he erased. And that's the other, by the way, no central bank, nobody to complain to. You forget your password, you erase your hard drive, you lose your wallet. You use a custodial wallet, which a lot of people did at Mt. Gox and other places. You lose it, there ain't nobody to complain to.
Of course, if you set fire to a pile of, paper bills, the bank's
That's
not
true.
going to replace it.
That's a good point.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean the non-reversibility of cryptocurrency transactions. But by and large, there are some that are reversible. But that's a big problem, and people haven't really gotten their heads around the customer service implications of that. Just like if there's transaction fraud. I haven't even heard people talk about that issue as much, which I think is a big issue in terms of making it mainstream.
Right. At least Jake Paul is broke now. That's all. I'm just happy about that. That's all.
Okay, there's no way he's broke. He probably has marginally less money.
Yeah, I mean, they're still worth $20,000 unless he bought it at 30.
Or is he leveraged if he bought it on
Oh, he could be. He could be. He put
Bitcoin is the thing that brings Jake Paul down, I'll be very surprised. What a world.
But I think that a lot of what we're seeing, like, why is everything kind of collapsing at once? It's because you've had a ton of leverage into this market, and all of these leverage bets are unwinding at once.
Right.
And it's just enormous selling pressure.
And by the way, this picture is why there are people, maybe me, who have some schadenfreude about all that. There's Jake Paul literally rolling in money. And, that's why people don't like Bitcoin bros, right? There's so I feel bad. Anybody lost money, I'm sorry. I'm sorry, Jake. At least you have your boxing career to fall back on.
Isn't that his brother?
Oh, is it Logan's? I can't keep track of him.
I don't know.
There's
Thought it was.
My son, who is hip and with it, tells me there's one good Paul and one bad Paul. I don't know which is which.
Inside of you, there are two Pauls, a good Paul and a bad Paul.
Jake Paul did blame Biden for the fall of Bitcoin. So I'm thinking.
Oh, so there's that. Yeah.
maybe he's the bad Paul. All right. We're not going to go on and on. Bitcoin, I hope it goes back up. I really do, for all of us, all of your sake. And I hope they go to proof of stake or less energy-intensive ways of keeping the ledger, because that's not good either.